My name is Elena Vasquez, and for the past 18 years, I've built my life around the belief that love is a fortress unbreakable. If only you reinforce the walls with enough patience and forgiveness. I was a single mother by choice, or so I told myself when I adopted Marcus at birth. His biological mother, a fleeting presence in my life as a college friend, had handed him over like a discarded textbook, her eyes hollow with the weight of decisions she couldn't unmake. "He's yours now," she'd whispered, and in that moment, I became his everything. Or at least, I thought I did. We lived in a modest two-bedroom apartment on the outskirts of Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the desert sun baked the earth into cracked clay, and the nights brought a silence so profound it felt like the world was holding its breath. I worked as an accountant for a small logistics firm, crunching numbers from dawn until dusk, ensuring that trucks full of forgotten cargo arrived on time. It was steady work, the kind that paid for Marcus's braces and soccer cleats, but left little room for extravagance. Our evenings were ritual: dinner at the chipped formica table, homework under the glow of a single lamp, and stories from my abuela about the old country tales of resilient women who turned thorns into crowns. Marcus was my miracle, dark-haired and quick-witted, with eyes that sparkled like the Rio Grande under moonlight. As a boy, he was all energy and curiosity, dismantling radios to see how they sang and rebuilding them with duct tape and dreams. "Mom, one day I'll make something that changes everything," he'd say, his small hands greasy with solder. I believed him. How could I not? He was the pulse in my veins, the reason I dragged myself out of bed when the numbers blurred into nightmares. But miracles, I've learned, can curdle. It started subtly, like the first grains of sand slipping through a sieve. At 15, Marcus discovered girls, or rather, the intoxicating haze of first love. There was Sophia, with her laughter like wind chimes and a smile that could coax blooms from the cactus. They were inseparable, whispering secrets in the school parking lot, their hands brushing like tentative sparks. I encouraged it. Love, after all, was the mortar in my fortress. Then came the lies. Small ones at first. "I need $20 for a group project," he'd say, eyes downcast, and I'd hand over the cash, watching as it vanished into the ether of teenage whims. But the projects never materialized, and the absences stretched longer. I'd find him scrolling endlessly on his phone, lost in a digital world where likes were currency and filters hid the cracks. "It's nothing, Mom," he'd mutter, pocketing another bill. By 16, the erosion deepened. His grades slipped from A's to C's, excuses piling up like dust bunnies under the bed. The teacher's unfair, or I forgot the assignment. Soccer tryouts came and went. He claimed injury, but I saw the untouched cleats gathering mold in the closet. And the money, always the money. It began with allowances unearned, then loans for emergencies that never resolved. I'd confront him gently, my voice a soft probe. "Marcus, where's the 50 from last month?" He'd shrug, that boyish grin flashing like a shield. "Lost it. I'll pay you back." I forgave. Love demands it, doesn't it? I told myself it was a phase, the awkward alchemy of boyhood into manhood. But deep down, a whisper stirred a mother's intuition, sharp as a stiletto. Still, I ignored it, bolstering the walls with extra shifts at work, extra hugs at night. It was the summer before his senior year when the fortress began to tremble. Marcus turned 17, lanky and brooding, his once bright eyes shadowed by something I couldn't name. He got a part-time job at the local diner, flipping burgers for minimum wage, and for a while, it seemed like progress. "I'm saving up, Mom," he declared, sliding a crumpled $10 bill across the table one evening. Pride swelled in my chest. Perhaps the sieve was mending, but pride is a fragile thing. One Tuesday in July, as I logged into our joint savings account to transfer funds for the electric bill, a notification pinged an alert from the bank's app I'd set up years ago for security. It wasn't our account. The name on the statement read, Marcus J. Vasquez secondary account. My heart stuttered. Secondary? We'd never discussed a secondary anything. I stared at the screen, the glow illuminating the kitchen like a confessional. The balance, $2,347.12. Deposits trickled in 50s. Here, 20s there from the diner. From odd jobs he claimed didn't exist. But the withdrawals, they clawed at me. $150 at a vape shop. $200 transferred to an app called Cash App recipient at Sophia Queenby. $75 for gaming credits. And then, the gut punch. $500 wired to a site called Quicklet, a gambling platform I'd only heard of in hushed warnings from colleagues. Every transaction was a lie etched in ink. The group project money, funneled into virtual slot machines. The lost allowances, drained on e-cigarettes and late-night DoorDash runs with friends. And Sophia, oh God, Sophia, the transfers painted a picture of desperation, of a boy buying affection with borrowed pixels. He thought I couldn't read online statements. Our joint account was old school, paper trails and monthly mails, but I'd upgraded to digital last year, forcing him to do the same for transparency. He must have assumed I'd forgotten the password, or that the alerts were buried in spam. Foolish boy. In my line of work, numbers don't lie. They confess. I didn't confront him that night. Instead, I sat in the dim light, scrolling backward through months of deceit. The account had been opened 6 months prior, in secret, using his social security number and a forged parental consent for my signature. Scanned and altered with apps I'd later learn he downloaded from shady forums. The total siphoned from our joint pot? Over $3,000. Rent money, grocery funds, the emergency stash I'd built for his college dreams. Tears came then, hot and silent, soaking the sleeves of my robe. Not for the money, though it stung, like salt in a wound, but for the fracture it revealed. Who was this stranger in my son's skin? The boy who'd once fixed radios now rigged deceptions. The miracle curdled into a cautionary tale. I became a shadow in my own home, watching without watching. Each morning, I'd kiss his forehead, brew his coffee black the way he liked, and drive him to school with radio silence. "You okay, Mom?" he'd ask, glancing sideways, his voice laced with the guilt of the half-aware. "Fine, me, Joe," I'd reply, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Inside, a storm brewed rage in sorrow twisting like mesquite roots. At work, the numbers blurred. I'd stare at spreadsheets, seeing instead ledgers of betrayal. Date, amount, description, transfer to PayPal gift for friend. Lies. All of it. I started digging deeper, cross-referencing statements with his phone logs, a mother's prerogative. I justified. Text to Sophia, "Babe, got you that necklace. Surprise!" Followed by a photo of cheap cubic zirconia bought with my sweat. The gambling was the worst. Quickloot's interface when I anonymously signed up to investigate was a siren's call, flashing lights, promises of fortune. Marcus's bets were small at first. Parlays on basketball games he didn't watch, but they escalated. Wins were Pyrrhic. Losses, a black hole. One entry, 320 on a slot spin titled Desert Jackpot, poetic. In its cruelty, I confided in no one. Not my sister in El Paso, who'd always said Marcus was too soft for the world. Not Dr. Ramirez, the therapist I'd considered for family sessions. This was our siege, mine and his. Instead, I planned. Love, I'd decided, wasn't blind forgiveness. It was calculated mercy. I let him take every penny. It was a vigil of sorts enduring the drain. August brought heat waves, and with them, Marcus's boldness grew. He withdrew $400 for back-to-school clothes, emerging with new sneakers and a chain that screamed insecurity. I nodded approval, biting my tongue until it bled. Another $250 to Cash App Sophia again, this time for concert tickets he couldn't afford. I saw the posts on Instagram, them swaying under stage lights, her head on his shoulder, caption, "Living the dream with my king." The account dwindled. By mid-September, it hovered at 18734, a mocking remnant. Marcus's shifts at the diner doubled, but so did the deposits into his secret vault. He was hooked, the thief's hunger gnawing deeper. Nights, I'd hear him in his room, the glow of his screen seeping under the door like contraband light. Muffled curses when losses hit. Triumphant whoops for fleeting wins. I tracked it all in a notebook, hidden in my desk drawer. Entries like a diary of descent. Sep 12. 89. Quicklets roulette. Balance, $156.22. Sep 15. Plus 60 diner tip. Immediate 45 to vape store. He smells like artificial mango now. Sep 20. $100 transfer to Sophia. Text log. Miss you. This for our future. Our future? The words echoed hollow. His behavior shifted too. Irritable snaps at dinner, eyes darting like a cornered animal. Sophia dumped him on the 25th thigh. Pieced it together from deleted text recovered via parental app. I'd stealthily installed. You're broke, Marcus. I need more than promises. His response, a string of pleas, followed by another deposit he couldn't spare. That's when the real theft began, not from the account, but from his soul. He started skipping school, claiming stomach aches. I'd find him in the alley behind the diner, chain smoking, the acrid scent clinging to his clothes. Friends drifted, the good ones anyway. In their place, Tyler and Rico, hangers-on with tattoos and vacant stares, whispering about easy scores. I knew the end was near. The fortress walls, once reinforced with hope, now leaned precarious. But I held steady, my vigil a prayer in the dark. October arrived like a thief itself. Cool winds stripping the leaves from the cottonwoods. The current date, October 18, 2025, marked the eve of his 18th birthday. A milestone I'd planned with quiet fanfare, a cake from the bakery, a used laptop for college apps. But plans, like trust, are malleable. That night, as thunder rumbled over the Sandias, I acted. It was 11:47 p.m. Marcus asleep in his room after a marathon gaming session. That masked his quicklid binges. I logged into the bank's portal, my fingers steady despite the tremor in my chest. The secondary account stared back. Balance, 11267, the last dregs. Freezing an account is simpler than you'd think. A few clicks, a verification code from my phone linked as primary guardian, and a note. Suspected fraud. Hold all activity. I didn't stop there. I called the bank hotline, my voice calm as canyon stone. My son, I explained to the night shift trap. He's been manipulated. Identity theft, perhaps. Please secure everything. By midnight, it was done. Joint accounts too, just to be thorough, temporarily locked, accessible only by me. I powered down the laptop, the screen's death a symbolic snuffing. In the silence, I poured a glass of Merlot, toasting to endings. Morning broke gray and unforgiving. Marcus stumbled into the kitchen at AM, hair tousled, phone in hand. Mom, weirdest thing, the diner's direct deposit bounced. And my app, it's frozen? His voice pitched higher, panic threading the edges. I sipped my coffee, watching him over the rim. Frozen? Yeah. Like, I can't access shit. Tried calling the bank, but they said it's on hold pending investigation. He paced, thumbs flying across the screen. This can't be happening. I got rent, bills to pay. Rent? The word hung a guillotine. He stopped, face paling as realization dawned. Mom, you didn't. I set the mug down, deliberate. I did. The explosion was inevitable. What the hell? That's my money. You can't just. Your money? I echoed, rising slowly. My voice, when it came, was ice over lava. The $3,200 you siphoned from our joint account? The diner tips you hoarded while I covered groceries? The gambling debts you hid behind gifts for Sophia? He deflated, sinking into a chair, hands raking through his hair. How did you? Online statements, Marcus. You thought I couldn't read them? Every transaction, every lie. I slid the notebook across the table. Pages fan like an accusation. His eyes widened, tracing the meticulous script. Mom, please? It was just, I was stupid. Sophia, the pressure, everyone's doing it. I needed to keep up. Tears welled. But I saw the calculation beneath. The plea for a key to unlock his cage. I leaned in close enough to smell the stale smoke on his breath. A thief's hunger never ends, Mijo. You took every penny, thinking it yours to squander. Now, feel the empty, he begged then, words stumbling like dice. Help me, Mom, unfreeze it. I'll pay it back, I swear. Therapy, job, whatever. Just don't let me drown. I walked away, leaving him with the echo of my words. The fortress held, but at what cost? The days that followed were a purgatory of raw edges. Marcus holed up in his room, emerging only for sullen meals or desperate calls to the bank, calls that yielded nothing but automated loops. I watched him unravel, the withdrawal from his skin like a shedding snake, eyes hollowed by sleepless nights. He tried odd jobs mowing lawns in the neighborhood, his mower sputtering like his resolve, but the cash evaporated into cravings he couldn't name. Sophia resurfaced once, a text I intercepted. Heard you're broke, knew you were all talk. He deleted it, but not before I saw the fracture it carved. Tyler and Rico ghosted, their loyalty as thin as the smoke they chased. I didn't thaw the accounts. Instead, I enrolled us in counseling mandatory. I told him, if he wanted a roof, Dr. Hale was a no-nonsense woman with wire rim, glasses and a voice like weathered oak. Our first session, Marcus slouched, arms crossed. This is bullshit, he muttered. Speak your truth, Dr. Hale prompted, unfazed. It's her fault, he spat. She froze everything. I'm 18 tomorrow, adult, right? But nah, mommy controls the strings. I flinched, but held steady. Tell her about the account, Marcus. The lies. He did, haltingly at first, then in a flood. The addiction's grip, how Quickloot's chimes became his heartbeat. Win's a drug more potent than any vape. Sophia's demands, fueling the fire. The shame that silenced him. I didn't want you to see me like that, he admitted, voice cracking. The fixer kid broken. Dr. Hale nodded. And now, I hate it. The hunger. It's always there, whispering. We unpacked it weekly. The abandonment echoes from his bio mom. My overcompensation with leniency. I confessed my vigil. The pain of watching without intervening. I let you fall, I said, tears tracing familiar paths, to teach you flight. Marcus's birthday came on a crisp Sunday. No cake. No laptop. Instead, a ledger, blank pages for his own accounting, and a job lead at my firm. Entry-level data entry. Earn it, I said, handing him the pen. Rebuild. He took it, fingers trembling. That night, we sat on the porch, stars pricking the velvet sky. I'm sorry, Mom, he whispered, for the thief I became. Forgiven, I replied, pulling him close. But remember, hunger ends when you feed the right beast. Months wove into a tapestry of tentative mending. Marcus started at the firm, his desk a cubicle echo of mine, fingers pecking keys with newfound purpose. The pay was meager, but he tied it half to restitution, half to a new savings account. This one transparent, app shared, no secrets. Therapy evolved into group sessions for young addicts, where he shared war stories of digital dens. Sophia faded into memory, replaced by Elena Waite. No, by friends who valued sweat over shine. Soccer returned, not as star, but teammate. Cleats dusted off, lungs burning with honest exertion. I too changed. The fortress walls, once rigid, now breathed gates ajar for vulnerability. I dated tentatively, a widower from church with kind eyes and no skeletons. And the notebook? Burned in a backyard fire pit, ashes scattered to the wind. One evening in spring, as Chala's bloomed defiant pink, Marcus handed me a check, $3,200, painstakingly recompiled. Full circle, he said, grin boyish again. I cashed it, but not to pocket. Into college funds for him, and perhaps a sibling one day. The hunger's quiet now, he confided later, over a Beulah's tales retold. But I hear it sometimes. Keeps me sharp. Love, I realized, isn't a fortress at all. It's a garden, wild, weedy, requiring constant tending. Thorns prick, but blooms follow. And in the tending, we find not just survival, but grace.